Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints. And in this episode, I talked to Scott Holmes from Little Miss BBQ in Phoenix, Arizona. I've wanted to talk to Scott for a long time, and I'm glad we finally were able to lock it down. He's such a great guy, so enthusiastic, such interesting stories, and it's cool to hear about his background. And like a lot of people, it wasn't a background in barbecue nor in food, but he has the passion, and he talks about his visits to Texas and what inspired him, and how he found the location and the pits, and how he got his friends and family to help him get this thing up and running. And now it's a location where you could wait up to 2 to 3 hours on a weekend, 2 hours during the week. It's open from Tuesday to Saturday from 11 till they sell out, and they sell out pretty early. So make sure he gives a lot of tips at the end of like what days they come, what times they come, and then he talks about his new location, which is opening up in mid to late September. Early October for sure, which is a lot larger location, and we'll have 3 cutters on board, and it sounds awesome. And I can go on and on and on, but just enjoy this episode. I know you will. If you're liking these, please subscribe. I want to make sure you get all the back episodes as well as any new episode that comes up. I have a website at kevinsbbqjoints.com, which has barbecue news and information and links to everything that I'm doing. But enjoy this. Thanks so much, Scott. Well, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing well, doing great. Thank you again. Took a little while for us to get this together.
It's been about a year, I
I
think,
think
since you
so.
first approached me there. So
Yeah, yeah, we said yes. We wanted to do it. Just the timing was never good.
I know.
Never good. And now the timing's even getting crazier. So I want to go into I want to get because I know a lot of people have heard about you, and it's
Right.
a lot of it's obviously because of Daniel Vaughn, but a lot of people are seeing your stuff, and your barbecue looks fantastic. And
Thank you.
you're so close to me. I'll be once I heal up from this whole shingles thing. I'll be out there without
Okay.
a doubt. And I don't know when's your new. I'm gonna jump around a little. When's your new location opening up?
Hopefully mid-September, mid to
Wow,
late September.
that's coming
So
up.
we'll
Nice.
see, right around the corner. So we've been having to make a bunch of crazy decisions lately, and everything's good. Everything's progressing. I took the last smoker over there today.
Okay.
So we have 3 oilers, and then we have one of our 1,000-gallon Camelback smokers over there.
Okay.
So
Are,
that's exciting, and
who's making Are they someone making those for you, or do you design them yourselves? I'm trying to remember
Uh,
what I
the
heard.
Camelback Smokers, I have a partner in the company,
Okay.
and when we first opened, we had an 800-gallon R&O smoker built by Billy Overton in Texas,
Oh, okay.
and we needed more capacity. So across the street, I ended up becoming friends with a guy who used to restore old Jaguars. He used to restore, I think it was like 66 to 68 Jaguars.
Oh,
That was
wow.
his specialty. And the guy that he was partnering with on that ended up meeting a girl, ended up traveling the world with her, and he's
Wow.
like, I need something to do. Can I make your smoker? I'm like, yeah, all right. So we went through it, and I gave him dimensions, how big I thought the firebox needed to be, air intake, all sorts of stuff, exhaust, where the rack should be.
Mhm.
And so he made it, and he made it look really cool and awesome, and it didn't work at all. Yeah, so it was.
And I think everyone kind of in their head thinks they can make a smoker, but it's not so easy.
There's a lot to it,
Hmm.
So we spent a lot of time working on it. And my father, he comes from a semiconductor background, so
Oh,
we had these companies come out that do the furnaces for the epitaxial layer and making semiconductor wafers and all that stuff come out. And next thing you know, we have all this equipment in this smoker trying to figure out the airflow and temperature and everything like that. So we went back to the drawing board and recreated it entirely, and we would just weld pieces in there and adjust things. And we just spent a lot of time working on it and making it so it cooked perfect for
do you
us.
still have that one?
I didn't. I don't. We retrofitted it and sold it to a guy up in Munns Park.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So he's here in Arizona.
and did you build the other smokers? Is that what happened? Or
Yes, we built 1,000 gallons, 500, 250 gallons, 120s, all offset smokers. So yeah, we're selling to I don't know, all over now. We just had Travis Clark from Clark Crew
oh,
Barbecue.
okay.
He's opened up a restaurant. He bought 2 of them. We've got some in Chicago. We have some in Denver. They kind of all over.
What's the name of that company?
Camelback Smokers.
Okay, so it's called Camelback Smokers. Okay, okay. I thought maybe that was like an idea, like you had the style. It was a Camelback Smoker style. Oh, that's cool. Because Camelback, Arizona, right?
Yeah, we had a local magazine, and they heard we were making our own smokers. So
Okay.
like, hey, can we go ahead and do an article about it? I'm like, yeah, okay, perfect. And they're like, what's the name of the company? I'm like, I have no idea. So then went and talked to my partner John, and
Yeah.
we're just kind of hanging out. We went to go grab something to eat, and driving along, you can see Camelback Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
What about Camelback Smokers?
That's perfect.
So we ran with it.
So do you have a website, or just could people contact you
We
directly
do.
somehow?
I think
Or?
it's just camelbacksmokers.com.
Okay, cool. I'll put a link to it because I want people to, you know.
Facebook, all that stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. And when I visit, I'll film the smokers and stuff, so people. And I think there's some footage online of them, and they're beautiful. They're
Cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Well, I want to go back to your history. I know you have a culinary background. Did you go to culinary school?
I do. I went to culinary school, graduated in '96.
Okay.
So I graduated, and I was working in a Cuban restaurant. Worked there for about a year.
Okay.
And just doing all sorts of stuff, working on the line, prep, pretty much everything. And I hated it. I was working 12 hours a day, making $8 an hour. Always working holidays, weekends, nights. I was 22 years old. My personal life is horrible. And I had a buddy of mine who said, hey, I'm working for this company selling medical supplies. Do you want to get a job? I was like,
Yeah, sounds better.
I'm like, well, what does that entail? He's like, well, you'll be salary, and you'll be making probably 4 times what you're making now. And you'll have health benefits and vacation time, and you'll be out of work every day by 3:00. And it's like,
Wow.
sign me up. So I put in my notice a couple of days later, and did that. And then I don't know. It was one of the. I always look back at it, and you have those moments in life where you're like, what if I didn't do that?
Uh-huh.
Because I personally think it was one of the worst decisions I ever made, was getting out of cooking. But so I did that for a while. Got into mortgages, construction, all sorts of
All
stuff.
within Arizona, because you grew up in Arizona, right? Or?
Yeah, all within Arizona. I grew up here in Tempe, Arizona, Phoenix area.
Okay.
And then so I'm going along doing my thing, and I was out at Habitat for Humanity. I was volunteering there. I was a team leader,
cool.
building houses, and I was doing it for 5-6 years. And then all of a sudden one day, this really cute girl shows up. So that doesn't happen too much out at Habitat. So her and I start talking and hanging out and having fun. And next thing you know, we're dating. And then one day she's like, hey, I have a friend getting married in, where was it? Fredericksburg. It was in Fredericksburg, Texas.
Okay.
So we go back there, and her parents met us.
Hi, Megan. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So we go out to Austin, Texas, and her parents meet us at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a cooler of beer in the back of the trunk, and it's like, where do we go? Like, oh, yeah, we're going to go down to the Salt Lick.
I was going to say Salt Lake. That was my guess.
I didn't know. I didn't know anything about it. And he's like, oh, you'll have a great time. Barbecue's good. We'll be able to hang out. I'm like, perfect. So we go out there. I pull up, and I love this place. You got the cooler of beer. You're hanging out waiting for your table. When you walk in, you got the big round pit right
it's like
there.
a Disneyland.
It is. It's like, it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life, And that was another life-changing moment there. So that trip there, when I came back, I ended up coming home and bought a big green egg and started doing barbecue on that every single weekend. And we would just have friends over, and we were cooking on that 5-6 days a week.
How do you like cooking on a big green egg? I was curious what people think of it. Did you?
I love it. We still use it probably 4 days a week here at the house. I don't really like cooking barbecue on it just because the size of it. I don't like the size of the plate setter.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't put a whole brisket on it. It's great for pork butts, but it's not big enough for racks of ribs. So then you have to cut them up. It's just it's okay.
So you do it for steaks and stuff? Is that what you use it for?
Fish, steaks.
Oh, fish.
We'll do
Okay.
pizza on it. We'll do paella on it. That's about it. I have a big 120-gallon offset smoker in the backyard too.
That's
so
nice.
I tend to use that one a lot.
Yeah. No, so that first trip, I'm thinking, I know that when you visited Franklin, that was a big deal. That was an epiphany as well. Was that during that trip, or was it a different trip?
It's kind of funny. So I was barbecuing here, and then we ended up, after 4.5 years, a buddy of mine, Justin's like, hey, I'm going to go do this barbecue contest. You want to go help me? And he's like, all I really need you to do is just kind of help out a little bit. And I just want somebody to hang out and drink with and play games with.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I go out to that, and it was a great time. And then I come back. I'm like, Becky, you want to do a barbecue contest? She's like, yeah, sounds like fun. And next thing you know, we're doing barbecue contests. We're doing 14, 15 contests a year. And
Whoa.
it was a great time. And but we were still going back to Austin once or twice a year. We were going pre-kids. We were going in the summer. Then we were also going for Christmas or New Year's every year. And we would go to Lockhart, we'd go to Taylor, Elgin. You're going to all those small little places, and you're going to, mediocre places in Austin. And then, we're competing, and we've got this, Aaron Franklin comes out, what was it, late 2009?
Yeah, 2009, yeah.
So what was it? It was his trailer. As soon as he moved to his building, we were going to go to his place. So we're there for Christmas. Hey, let's go. I get everybody in the car. We get down there. We're in that stupid, ridiculously crazy long line. And we're standing there. And then the girl's coming by. Hey, how much are you going to order? Person right in front of us gets that sold out. And this is like, It's like, well, you can wait and maybe you'll get stuff. Yeah. And at that time, John Miller had opened up, John Miller Meat Company. So he had opened up again in Austin. What was it? South First, I think it was. So he had that trailer, and he had the 1,000-gallon smoker on a trailer with like 8 picnic tables out there. I'm like, hey, he just opened up again, and I'm hearing really good things about it. Let's go check him out. So we go down there, and it's my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, father-in-law, one of those relatives that you're not quite sure how he's related into the family.
He's always there.
You know what I mean? And then Becky and I, and we go, and we spent $150 on this. Well, I spent $150 on this tray of awesome meat, right? Brisket, beef ribs, got it all. And I think he had a keg of the beer out there, which they can just give away.
Yeah.
It's just liquor laws,
Yeah, that's always been so strange to me.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's absolutely freezing cold out there. And I remember we're sitting at the picnic table, and I'm eating this food, and it was so good. It was like he was on that day, and it was amazing. And, the guy next to me, I noticed he didn't have any beef ribs. So it's like you do in Texas, it's like community. Hey, here, man, you got that?
You got to try this. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Hey, you didn't get this. Here, try that. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, Becky, I love this. I'm like, I'm watching John run around like a madman between the trailer and the smoker. I'm like, we need to do this in Phoenix. And came back home, started, working on a business plan and everything like that. And I was going to do the same thing, but regulations are a little bit different here in Phoenix. And I got to the Porta-John part, and they kind of laughed at me down at the city of Phoenix planning development. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so I ended up borrowing a buddy's. He had a backyard Jambo. Friend of mine, Randy, from competing, and he's like, hey, go ahead and use mine, because Central Texas style barbecue is so different than KCBS style barbecue.
Without a doubt, yeah, hands down.
Right. So it's like, okay, we're going to go from cooking 2 briskets and 4 racks of ribs, and all of a sudden we're going to be cooking a lot more. So you have to learn how to cook by feel, and it's a totally different ballgame. You're not injecting everything. You're just using a rub. It's just a totally different product.
Was it a taco place or was that when you found how did you find your location?
Yeah. So we were practicing this barbecue, and I bought that 800-gallon from R&O.
Yeah.
And that came out, and I was working at a company. We did environmental abatement. So it's kind of a glorified, highly regulated demolition contract, right? And I hated it. I had been there for 6-7 years, and they let me go off and do all my competitions, and it paid all right, and had the truck, but I hated it every day. I'm like, this is not what I want to do. And so once our food started getting kind of good on the offsets, doing the Central Texas stuff, my boss would probably hate it if I told him, but he probably wouldn't really care because everything's worked out. But, I would just drive around. I was a senior project manager for the company, so I would just travel around and go check all the job sites. But I would also spend a half hour driving around on side streets just looking for cool locations.
Nice.
And I would just drive, and I would almost pick, okay, I'm going to travel down this street. I'm going to go 10 miles that way. I'll go up to the next street, 10 miles that way. And I just started going back and forth on streets every day. And, with regulations, we have to be 300 feet from any residential. And then you also run into issues being by offices. And then one day I ended up finding this tiny little location in this total industrial area of Phoenix, just south of the airport. There were 4 strip clubs by it at the time, and only one of them was like a legitimate like strip club, and the other 3 were just kind of like, they're the ones you really don't go into.
Yes.
And so I find this location, and it was a dump. Nobody had been in there for about 8 months, and but I started stopping by there every day around lunchtime, and I would just park my truck, and I'd get out, and I'd just stand at the fence, and I'd started thinking, like, I can put big planters here, and I could have the line go that way, put picnic tables over here, put a smoker over there. This might work.
Okay.
But, it's in a totally sketchy part of town.
Yeah.
Totally safe, but it was sketchy, And I ended up calling a real estate agent. I called the dude's number up on the sign and checked it out. Everything ended up working out all right. So we ended up moving into that place. And then we opened up last day of February 2014.
And how long did it take you to retrofit and get it all ready for
it? We did it. It was myself, my dad, my brother-in-law helped out a little bit. This guy at the last company I had been working with, I was looking for extra money. I just random people like, hey, let's do this, let's do that. So we signed the lease in November. It was towards the end of November. And so we're looking at just about 3 months.
And then was it called Little Miss BBQ? Is that how did that name come about?
Little Miss BBQ is our competition team name.
Oh, that was the competition name.
Yeah.
And how did that come about for the competition team?
Yeah. So when we started competing, my wife and I were sitting there watching football one Sunday. Just, hey, what should we call the team? We're just hanging out watching football. Our dog Jaeger comes up, and her nickname's Little Miss. So Becky gets down. She's like, hey, what's up, Little Miss? And she's like, what about Little Miss BBQ? I'm like, I like it.
Let's roll.
So the first couple of times we went out there, we got razzed a little bit about the name, but it stuck. And then when you open up a barbecue place, you're like, well, do I name it like everybody else does, and do I do last name Holmes Barbecue? And I have a buddy of mine, and he has a PR company. He's like, you know what, dude, just keep it Little Miss because Little Miss, people remember that.
It's easy to remember. So
Holmes
easy.
Barbecue, nobody's going to remember. So we ran with it.
That's cool. That's awesome. What was the reception at first? Like, were people like, what were you cooking at the beginning? You were cooking brisket, right?
Yeah, we were cooking everything we cook now. We were doing brisket, pulled pork, turkey, our house-made sausages, and beef ribs on Friday and Saturday.
Were you making house-made sausages at home, or were you doing that at the beginning? How did you figure it out?
At the very beginning, we were doing it. When we knew we wanted to open up a barbecue place, we wanted to do our own sausages. So that was one of those things where I would every Wednesday, Becky and I would come home from work, and we'd grind up a bunch of sausage, season it up, adjust it, play with our recipe.
That's awesome.
And Thursday we would smoke it, and then Friday I would take it to work. I'd take it out to all of our client job sites. So then I would take it to these guys. Hey, what do you think of this one? Let me know what you think. And we would revise it over and over. So,
I think that's a great tip. And I've heard that more and more from people. If they've taken their barbecue out to people, give it to them for free, friends and family and things, and coworkers, because I think that you get a great, it's a great way to get a barometer as to like how it's like being received.
Right, you get a ton of feedback that way. The only problem is everybody tells you have.
Yeah, it depends on who you're giving it to. True. Yeah.
Because you're cooking it better than they are.
Yeah,
so you can be totally mediocre. Oh, this is great. This is great. This is great. So
and people like meat and food. They like free meat.
People do, and when we started getting serious about it, I would just go to my neighbors. Hey, I'm cooking 2 briskets and 4 racks of ribs. You interested in any of it? I'll give it to you at the cost.
Oh.
So I was selling all of our meat for cost to all of our neighbors.
Huh.
I'd have a big email list. I'd either call people or I'd send out an email. Hey, I'm cooking 8 briskets on Saturday. Do you want to come and pick it up at 6 o'clock?
Okay. And,
my only stipulation was I was going to take 1 slice out of the lean and 1 slice out of the fatty, and that would be for me, and everything else was for them.
Oh.
Yeah, because, at that time, you're experimenting. You're doing
you want to see,
yeah, you're doing all sorts of different things. Like my wife, she's a PhD and a lot smarter than me, and so she comes from a lab background and very scientific, and so we had it all dialed in where we've got all these different rub experiments, cooking experiments
That
going on.
helps. Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. So then we had so we're trying 8 different things every time we would cook, and it just kind of helped us dial everything in a little bit faster. I think just changing everything up, whether it's different wrap times, different method of pulling it. There's so many different ways you can pull a brisket.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of time. It takes to do it again and again and mess up a lot.
Right. Can you do it by temp? Do you probe it? Do you squeeze it? Do you lift it? Do you know what I mean? Do you knock on it?
Can you lift it now? Like, I'm sure you can. Like, you could tell a brisket. You can kind of look at it, right, and kind of tell, or
yeah, we can pick it up and just tell. You can tell right away. So yep.
When did you guys start getting lines, or when did people start recognizing that you guys were doing something special?
Yeah, so we opened up the last day of February 2014, and we didn't really do any advertising at all. All of our neighbors in the area knew. Everybody that we bought. One great thing about being in an industrial area is everything that we needed to build out the restaurant, we could find within a mile. So we had a lot of contacts that we had made. Just if we needed paint, we're buying it from somebody close. If we needed lights, we're buying it from somebody close. So all these people are like, hey, when are you open? When are you open? So when we first opened, people from these local businesses came down.
Okay.
And then you might have one guinea pig come down and try it. And then the next day, he'd come back with 3 of his buddies.
Nice.
And he's like, oh, you guys got to try this. And then next thing you know, those guys that he brought are bringing their friends and clients and things like that down. And it just spread that way.
Were people used to the way that you line up and that, like the cutting, that whole method? Was that,
No, it's totally different out here. There's one place, Texas Barbecue House. We had Texas Barbecue House, Rudy's. They're kind of like that, but nobody where you walk in and they're like, hey, how's it going? Here's a piece of meat for you. What can I get for you? And cut it right there in front of you. Nobody does that here in town. So it was totally new, and it was this great experience. We've had a big, massive smoker out front, tiny little restaurant in the middle of, an industrial area. Everybody's like, what is this place? And, next thing you know, we started getting more and more people coming out. And then next thing you know, we had, Channel 3, which was, I think it was ABC. They came out. They did a little morning bit. And then we started getting busier. And then, we got an article in Phoenix Magazine. The next thing you know, one day, I think it was October 2014, I'm inside, there was 3 of us. So, there was 4 of us. It was myself, this guy, Travis, who was my middle guy, and I was teaching him how to cook. Okay. And then our cashier, Shauna, and my dad. And my dad would just kind of hang out in the parking lot and talk to people. That was his thing. My dad comes in one day. He's like, Scott, something's going on outside. I'm like, okay. So I go outside. He's like, it's weird. And I go outside, and we probably had 70 people lined up in our line, whereas every other day it was about 15. So I go out there, and there's 70 people. I'm like,
what's going on? Yeah.
What's going on? How did you? And they're like, oh, yeah, you got 4.5 stars from Howard Seftel in the Arizona Republic in today's paper.
Whoa.
Now, Howard Seftel, 4.5 stars was massive because he never gave out ratings like that. I forget how many he had given out in his whole career, but it wasn't that many.
Wow.
And
that's funny, the power of that. The power.
It was insane. It was insane. So we sold out that day. I think it was 12:30 or something ridiculous. We were open like an hour and a half, and then so it just grew from that, and then it just completely took off. Word of mouth between that Arizona Republic Review, all the other local media, Phoenix Magazine, Phoenix New Times. You get all the bloggers coming in, and they're throwing it all up there. It just took off. It was kind of crazy.
And then do you remember when Daniel came in, or did you meet that?
Yeah, Daniel came in. He came in sometime 2015.
So I remember 15 I think that's when I saw the write-up in 15.
Yeah, so he had come in. He had heard all sorts of stuff about us. And then he ended up flying out, which is kind of crazy to be sitting there cutting one day, then all of a sudden look up and be like, that's Daniel Vaughn.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Who? Taxes monthly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, and then everybody else is what? You know? And yeah, I remember at that point, you know how when something like that happens, all of a sudden everything starts going off crazy in your head, and you get the butterflies and all
Mhm.
that. That was pretty awesome when it came out.
So did you
So
cut? Were you cutting brisket at the time? Like, do you still cut it all the time? Or I think I saw a different cutter one time when I saw some footage.
no, we have four cutters now.
Four cutters.
So
Oh, nice.
I cut a little bit. I cut usually maybe a little bit on Saturdays, not a whole lot. I've been working on this new restaurant all the
Yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah. That's what I was going
And
to get
then
to.
my brother-in-law, he was cutting for a long time, Quentin, and it's funny. You cut that much meat all the time, you almost develop like a brisket slicing elbow, you know. So his elbow started hurting him really really bad.
Oh, that's so funny.
Um,
I mean, it's
yeah,
terrible, but it's funny.
so he only cuts every once in a while now, and
Okay.
we've trained two other guys to cut, and
Okay.
they're getting there. They've got it down, but they just need to speed up at this point. But they're doing great.
Wow.
So there's a four of us, and then we have what is there three, four of us that can pull meat as well. So
How many smokers do you have now at that location?
we have three. We have two of our Camelback 1,000 gallon offsets. We still have that RNO, and then we have a 1,000 gallon smoker on a trailer, which is kind of for holidays, really big event days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what sides do you have? Because I know, and then there's a dessert too. That's a really
Yeah,
fantastic
we
looking.
do. We do kind of like a ranch style beans, coleslaw, potato salad, and we do a jalapeno cheddar
Yeah, yeah.
grapes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the pie is it's a smoked pecan pie. My wife Becky, it's like her great grandmother's secret recipe.
It looks
And,
ridiculous. It looks so good.
oh, it's so good. And
So you have to
funny
get
story
that.
about that. Yeah, I remember the first time Becky had Thanksgiving at my parents' house. She brings this pecan pie, right? And everybody's eating it. Oh, it's so good, so good. And my mom, you know how moms, like, hey, can I get the recipe to that? I remember Becky looked at her and just looked at her and said, I can't.
Oh,
So then my mom's like,
I know. My mom. My mom would be mortified. Like after she'd feel so bad that she asked, and she wouldn't know. She wouldn't really know what to do.
right, right. Like my mom was like, what? Because that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so then Becky kept that recipe secret for a long time. And
Uh-huh.
we were at the restaurant. I have a friend of mine, and she's a pastry chef. And she has her own little spot down the street, and she was making desserts for us. We'd sell 5 to 7 a day. And then Becky one day was like, hey, how about I make like mini pecan pies? So she made 15 pies.
Uh-huh.
And they sold out like first hour or something like that. And then she made more the next day. And then she's like, here's a recipe. You can make them. So I was like, ooh, I get the recipe now, right? But she's like, don't share it with anybody.
Has your mom gotten it?
No, my mom doesn't have it yet. Yeah, the only people that have it are the people that make it at the restaurant.
Okay, all right.
So everybody at the restaurant has it now. But
Has your mom come in and had the pecan pie there?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yep.
Does it make her mad, or does she's like, oh, this is delicious? I don't care.
No, she's fine with it. Yeah, she's fine with it. Yeah, no ill feelings anymore. You know.
So let's talk about the second location. How far away is it?
Let me see. From our current location, it's about 20 minutes north.
Okay.
So it's north central Phoenix.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're familiar with Phoenix much.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be, you've got Camelback and then Piastowood Peak and North Mountain. It's right by North Mountain.
Okay.
So yeah. So it'll be good. We're going to have, I think it's between the building and the patio. I think we're sitting around 5,500 square feet.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's going to be big. So we're going to have 3 cutters in there, so we'll be able to get people through a lot faster. We're still going to try to keep it personalized.
Yeah.
But we really, really want to speed it up because right now the line's slow.
A full bar, is that what you're saying?
We're going to have a small bar. I don't know. We're going to have, instead of having 20 seats inside, we're going to have probably around 70 seats inside.
Wow.
About 60, 70 seats outside. What else? We'll be open Tuesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner,
Okay.
which is something totally different. You know, just we're so used to the game where you sell out every single day.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think I have it figured out because I absolutely refuse to reheat anything.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to be that big game of cooking the right.
Yeah, what do you do? Yeah, that you'll have to find par. That'll be tough, yeah.
Right. So I think we have our holding techniques down and everything like that. But what do you do okay, well, you're closing on Sunday for Monday. What do you do with all that meat?
Yeah, yeah.
So we're going to start running breakfast out of there, and we're going to do a couple different things.
Oh, cool. The original location, will the hours change, or is it going to still be a
Nope.
sellout? Okay.
It's going to be the same exact thing over there.
Okay.
Just Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 4, whenever we sell out.
Okay.
I don't want to change a thing about that one.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fair.
That one's kind of my idea of a perfect barbecue spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's in a rough part of the neighborhood. You have your own parking lot, your own building. You know, it's
The beaten path place in Texas, or
yeah, it's totally like that. It's great. You know, it's funny. We get these older women that come down from North Scottsdale, which is really nice area of Phoenix.
Yeah. No, I used to sell furniture to like resorts in Scottsdale.
Okay, yeah, and these women will come in. They'll be, I feel like I'm just being so dangerous coming to the restaurant. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's totally safe around here.
Oh, that's funny.
And they're like, yeah, but I never would come to a neighborhood like this.
Oh,
like,
that's hilarious. That's so funny.
okay. It's just funny though, and you know, people look at that outside area and they're just like, I don't know, but then they come down like, oh, this is great, you know.
And so, what are people looking at for lines? Like say right now, like during the week. I know that during holidays the lines can get to what, 2 hours or so. I don't know.
It's nuts.
I saw some with a bullhorn at.
Yeah, that's James.
Okay.
So our line this time of year, with it being 115, 110, 105 to 120 or whatever.
Yeah.
Usually it'll be about an hour and a half every day.
Okay.
Usually Saturdays we'll get up to maybe 2 hours.
Okay.
So and then during the busy time of the year, February, March, April, we've had the line get up to 4 hours before.
Okay.
So especially during spring training, that line will get up 3.5, 4 hours.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy. And the dude with the horn, since the line was so long, he's like, hey, what if I just go out there and tell people what's going on and what we're doing?
That's
and
smart. It's
try to cut as fast as we can. And, you know, so we've really tried to respect people and the fact that they're waiting so long. So he'll explain the menu. He'll explain how long of a wait it is for different sections. He'll explain why the line is taking a long time. You might have somebody order 40 pounds of meat.
That's true.
And it's totally going to stop the line. Mm-hmm. You know, so he does that, and he has his little spiel that he does, and it's awesome, and people like it.
Yeah, it was funny.
He was originally doing it without that megaphone, and then all of a sudden one of our customers bought it for him. So a customer got that for him.
So are there any tips then for people, say you want to like semi-avoid the lines? Like what time should they get there?
We usually recommend showing up around 9:30.
Okay.
You know, most people should 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
The majority of people show up 10:15 to 11. All your new people show up at 11 thinking, oh, I'm going to get there right when then it's like the worst time to show up. Usually after holidays. Weeks after holidays, we're usually slow.
That's a good tip for any place. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yep. And then normally our slowest day of the week is Wednesday.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was it Tuesday, Wednesday? Wednesday? Okay.
Yep. Tuesday is fairly busy. Wednesday is slow.
Okay.
Thursday picks up, and Friday and Saturday are jamming.
Wow. So, how great is that? Like, would you ever have thought that it would be that popular? Like, I know everyone aspires for things, but.
No, I mean, you take something like going back to Texas all the time. You look at how many places do meat market style, and you've got, you can't talk about Central Texas style without talking about Aaron Franklin, or, you've got those places.
City Market.
Arizona, City Market. You got Louis Miller. You got all these great places that have been doing this. I mean, some of them for a short period of time and some of them for a long period of time.
Yeah, like Black's almost 100 years or whatever, yeah.
Right. I mean, but then, for them, that's the way it is, that meat market style. And then out here, you're in California, right?
Yeah. We had one in Los Angeles that was so difficult. Right. I managed it for a year and a half, trying to explain it every day. Yeah. Yeah,
people don't get it. People here, it's like that strip mall barbecue where you order it, either they're slicing the back, reheating it, whatever they're doing back there.
A two-meat plate, or something.
Yeah, you don't see all that stuff. You don't see the passion. You don't see that. And, I remember before we opened, I was worried about that because what we were doing was so different and nobody else was doing it here. And are people going to get it? Are people going to wait in line when it's 118 degrees out? And they do. And
yeah, look at that.
The hottest days we have Here's another tip. Hottest days when you think nobody's going to be there, everybody's going to show up. And the days where in Phoenix we'll get maybe 2 days of summer where it'll be about 85, 86 degrees, just a total fluke, and we'll be dead. Nobody will be there.
That's so strange.
It's totally strange.
Yeah, it's gone around. Do you ever get a chance to travel back out to Austin? Do you or travel around Texas at all?
I haven't been to Austin in a while. I've been to Dallas a little bit, just with us buying those Oilers from
Oh
Jam.
yeah.
So I spent a bunch of time in Oilers, ate at Cadillac, ate at Heim, ate at a couple places out there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so looking at hopefully I'm going to try to go to Houston.
Yeah, that's my dream too.
Yeah, so I want to go to Houston before the new place opens, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I have my friend today. He texted me photos from Corkscrew and Tejas, and I'm like, oh.
Okay.
I'm like, what's? I was made me so mad.
I know. You're like, come on. Hey, we'll just go in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
31st, yeah.
Oh, excellent. Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, that's killer. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for what you're doing. I think it's kind of great how you're spearheading something like a lot of people now. It's their first introduction to Central Texas style barbecue, and that.
Yeah, we get so many people. Well, it's funny. We've had so much press, and it's funny. I think we've been on more foreign TV shows than we've been on U.S. TV shows.
Oh, that's funny.
So, which is great, because you get these people coming from New Zealand, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw you on such and such show," and you're like,
"Yeah, that weird travel channel that you never even heard of." Yeah.
So it's cool. So we've really turned into a destination spot for
awesome,
people.
Yeah.
We still have our local base, and hopefully with the new restaurant, it helps it be a little bit more accessible for all the locals here and everything like that. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's super exciting with the new location. That's going to be awesome. So you think it's around September 15th, roughly? Is that what you're?
Yeah, you know what? Probably towards. Let's just say the end of September.
End of September. Yeah. Because you don't want people like calling you on the 17th. How was that open?
I know, right? Well, what happened? Like with construction, it's one of those games, that everybody tells you a certain date to try to make you happy or whatever it is. So we were originally supposed to be getting the building in June. Then it got pushed to July. Then it got pushed to the first week in August. And now it's the end of August. I just don't believe anybody at this point anymore. So we're just saying end of September. Yeah. And if it pushes into October, it's like, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, it'll be. But if someone is planning on coming out, if they come out at the beginning of October, they could probably hit both locations, which would be great.
Oh yeah, totally. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to come out. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your evening.
Hey, you do the same, all right?
Thank Becky too.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye. Yeah.